Chicago, the curtain rises on one of radio's greatest full-hour weekly productions, Comedy Playhouse, produced under the direction of Jack LaFrandre and starring the famous Gold Coast Players. Coast to coast on the Mutual Broadcasting System, Comedy Playhouse devotes this full hour each week to radio dramatizations of outstanding comedy triumphs of the American and European stage. Tonight's feature production, that great 18th century classic by Richard Brinsley Sheridan, The School for Scandal. And here to set the stage for this performance is your Comedy Playhouse host, our production director, Jack LaFrandre.
Thank you sincerely, and as always, a most cordial welcome to Comedy Playhouse. Among theater goers here in America, Richard Brinsley Sheridan is probably best known as the author of The Rivals, which, by the way, we intend to perform in a few weeks, and this evening's Comedy Playhouse production, The School for Scandal. But in his native England, Sheridan was famous, too, as a politician of great influence, as manager of the Drury Lane Theater, and as one of the most notorious philanderers of his day. Although he boasted no royal family background and was unable to acquire any material wealth, he was the toast of nobility, his charm and wit proving irresistible alike to his political enemies, to those who frowned on his chaotic private life, to armies of unpaid creditors, and above all, to members of the opposite sex. This brief sketch of a man who lived life to the full might explain why he was qualified to write plays about people who lived life, if not cautiously, extremely well. Among the characters in the Sheridan play about to be performed, we're apt to recognize at least one, if not several, who might well represent the playwright himself. For your pleasure, we present The School for Scandal by Richard Brinsley Sheridan. As Act One opens, the scene before us represents the drawing room of one bright-eyed and sharp-tongued individual known as Lady Sneerwell. The sinister, rather oily-looking gentleman seated at Milady's side is named appropriately Mr. Snake, and a knowing smile plays about the corners of his crooked mouth as he listens intently to Lady Sneerwell's words.
Mr. Snake, you say the letters from Charles Surface to Lady Teasle were all distributed?
Yes, they were, madam. And as I wrote them myself in a feigned hand, there can be no suspicion whence they came.
Good. Letter writing is the most effective way to start rumors circulating.
Lady Sneerwell, I confess I'm at a loss to guess your motives in respect to Sir Peter Teasle and his family.
Then your powers of observation are extremely wanting, Mr. Snake.
Look, here are Charles and Joseph Surface, two young men to whom Sir Peter has acted as a kind of guardian since their father's death. The eldest, Joseph, possessing the most amiable character and universally well spoken of. The youngest, Charles, the most dissipated and extravagant young fellow in the kingdom, without friends or character. Joseph, an avowed admirer of your ladyship, and apparently your favorite, and Charles attached to Maria, Sir Peter's ward, and confessedly beloved by her. Now, on the face of these circumstances, it's utterly unaccountable to me why you, Lady Sneerwell, the widow of a city knight, and with a good jointure, should not close with the passion of a man of such character and expectations as Joseph Surface. And more so, why you should be so uncommonly earnest to destroy the mutual attachment subsisting between his brother, Charles, and Maria.
Then at once to unravel this mystery, I must inform you that love has no share whatever in the intercourse between Joseph Surface and me.
No?
Joseph's real attachment is to Maria, or her fortune. But finding in his brother Charles a favored rival, he's been obliged to mask his pretensions and profit by my assistance.
Yes, yet still I'm more puzzled why you should interest yourself in Joseph's success with young Maria.
Oh, how dull you are. It is Charles I love, and to wreck his affair with Maria, I would stop at nothing.
So? Now, indeed, your conduct appears consistent. But how came you and Joseph Surface so confidential?
For our mutual interest. He is enamored of Maria, I of his brother Charles. Between us, with your assistance, of course, Snake, if we can involve Charles with Lady Teasle...
Mr. Joseph Surface, Lady Sneerwell.
Show him in, please.
You may enter, sir.
My dear Lady Sneerwell, how do you do today? Mr. Snake, you're most obedient.
Yes, I believe, Lady Sneerwell, I shall go and write more letters on the subject at hand. Mr. Surface, you're most obedient.
Sir, you're very devoted. Lady Snailwell, I'm very sorry you put such confidence in that fellow Snake.
Why so? Surely, Joseph, you don't think he would betray us?
I don't think he has virtue enough to be faithful even to his own villainy.
Oh, come now, Joseph, you're ill-advised.
Lady Snailwell, may I come in and hide?
Oh, why, of course, child. Hide from what?
That disagreeable lover of mine, Sir Benjamin Backbite, has just called at my guardian's with his odious Uncle Crabtree. So I slipped out and ran hither to avoid them.
Poor child.
If my brother Charles had been of the party, Maria, perhaps you would have not been so alarmed.
Please, I prefer not to talk about Charles.
Yes, I understand.
My dear Maria, what has Sir Benjamin done that you would avoid him so?
Oh, he has done nothing, but his conversation is a perpetual libel on all his acquaintance, and so is his Uncle Crabtree.
But we should make allowances, for Sir Benjamin Backbite is a wit and a poet.
For my part, madam, wit loses its respect with me when I see it in company with malice.
Madam, Mrs. Cantor is below, and if your ladyship's at leave...
Mrs. Cantor, beg her to walk in.
Yes, madam.
Now, Maria, here is a character to your taste. For though Mrs. Cantor is a little talkative, everybody allows her to be the best-natured and the best sort of a woman.
Yes, with a very gross affectation of good nature and benevolence, she does more mischief than the direct malice of old Crabtree.
Hush, Maria, she'll hear you.
Oh, my dear Lady Snailwell, how have you been a century? Oh, Mr. Surface, what news do you hear? Though, indeed, it is no matter, for I think one hears nothing else but scandal.
Just so, indeed, ma'am.
Oh, Maria, child, is the whole affair off between you and Charles? His extravagance and his affair with someone's wife, I presume? Oh, the town talks of nothing else.
Indeed. I am very sorry, ma'am. The town is not better employed.
The license of invention some people take is monstrous indeed.
In my opinion, those who report such things are equally monstrous.
Oh, to be sure they are. Tale-bearers are as bad as the tale-makers. Tis an old observation and a very true one. But what's to be done, as I said before? How will you prevent people from talking? Why, today, Mrs. Claggett assured me Lady Brittle and Captain Bowstall have at last been seen together in the daylight. Oh, but Lord, you think I would report these things? No, because the tale-bearers, as I said before, are just as bad as the tale-makers.
Mrs. Cantor, if everybody had your forbearance and good nature.
Mr. Crabtree and Sir Benjamin Backbite, my Lady Snailwell.
Oh, good heavens.
So, Maria, you see your lover pursues you. Positively, you shan't escape. Show them in, please.
You may enter, gentlemen.
Lady Snailwell, I kiss your hand. Mrs. Cantor, I don't believe you're acquainted with my nephew, Sir Benjamin Backbite.
Oh?
Egad, man, he has a pretty wit and is a pretty poet, too. Isn't he, Lady Snailwell?
He is indeed.
Oh, fie, Uncle. My rhymes are a mere pastime.
I wonder, Sir Benjamin, you never publish anything.
To say truth, ma'am, 'tis very vulgar to print. And as my little productions are mostly satires and lampoons on particular people, I find they circulate more by giving copies in confidence to the friends of the parties.
Oh, you must be careful, Sir Benjamin. Very trifling innuendo often gives rise to the most injurious tales.
That they do, I'll be sworn, ma'am. Did you ever hear how Miss Piper came to lose her lover and her character last summer?
Oh?
Sir Benjamin, you remember it? Oh, to be sure, the most whimsical circumstance.
Oh, how was it, pray?
Why, one evening at Mrs. Panto's assembly, the conversation happened to turn on the breeding of Nova Scotia sheep in this country. Very innocently, someone said, I have known instances of it, for Miss Letitia Piper, a first cousin of mine, had a Nova Scotia sheep that produced her twins. What? Cries the Lady Dowager Dundizzy, who you know is as deaf as a post. Has Miss Piper had twins? This mistake, as you may imagine, threw the whole company into a fit of laughter. However, the next morning it was everywhere reported, and in a few days believed by the whole town, that Miss Letitia Piper had actually a fine boy and girl. And in less than a week, there were some people who could name the sheep that sired these babies.
Strange indeed.
Matter of fact, I assure you. Oh, lad. Mr. Surface, pray, is it true that your Uncle Sir Oliver is coming home?
Not that I know of, indeed, Mr. Crabtree.
He has been in the East Indies a long time. You can scarcely remember him, I believe. Sad comfort of him whenever he returns to hear how your brother Charles has gone on.
Charles has been imprudent, sir, to be sure, but I hope no busy people have already prejudiced Sir Oliver against him. He may reform.
Mr. Surface, we did not mean to hurt you. But depend on it, your brother is utterly undone.
Oh, lad, aye, undone as ever man was. Can't raise a guinea.
And everything sold, I'm told, that was movable.
Not a thing left but some empty bottles that were overlooked and the family pictures which I believe are framed in the attic. And have you heard what they're saying about Charles and Lady Teasel?
No, it can't be true. It's nothing but malicious gossip, and I won't listen to another word.
Lady Teasel, I'll not bear it. Egad, when an old bachelor marries a young wife, the crime carries its punishment along with it.
Sir Peter, you may bear it or not, as you please. But I ought to have my own way in everything, and what's more, I will, too. Though I was educated in the country, I know very well that women of fashion in London are accountable to nobody after they're married.
Very well, ma'am, very well. So a husband is to have no influence, no authority?
Authority? No, to be sure. If you wanted authority over me, you should have adopted me, not married me. I'm sure you were old enough.
Old enough? Why, there it is. Lady Teasel, though my life may be made unhappy by your temper, I'll not be ruined by your extravagance.
My extravagance? I'm sure I'm not more extravagant than a woman of fashion ought to be.
Madam, if you had been born to this, I shouldn't wonder at your talking thus. But you forget what your situation was when I married you. Daughter of a plain country squire.
Oh, yes, I remember it very well. And a curious life I led. My daily occupation to inspect the dairy, superintend the poultry, oversee the family budget, and comb my Aunt Deborah's lapdog.
I'm glad you have so good a memory. Yes, madam, these were your recreations, the recreations I took you from. But now you must have your coach, and 3 powdered footmen before your chair, and in the summer a pair of white cats to draw you to Kensington Gardens. No recollection, I suppose, when you were content to ride double behind the butler on a docked coach horse?
No, I swear I never did that. I deny the butler and the coach horse.
This, madam, was your situation, and what have I done for you? I've made you a woman of fashion, of fortune, of rank. In short, I've made you my wife.
Well, then there's but one thing more you can make me to add to the obligation, and that is...
My widow, I suppose.
Mind reader.
Madam, what are these reports about you and Charles?
Of me? Careful, Sir Peter, lest I give you reason for such reports. Now, Sir Peter, if we've finished our daily jangle, I presume I may go to my engagement at Lady Snellwell's.
Aye, and there's another precious circumstance. A charming set of acquaintances you made there.
Hey, Sir Peter, they're all people of rank and fortune and remarkably tenacious of reputation.
Many a wretch is hanged by the neck who has done less mischief than these utterers of forged tales, coiners of scandal, and clippers of reputation.
Would you restrain the freedom of speech?
They made you just as bad as any one of the society.
Sir Peter, you know you promised to come to Lady Snellwell's, too.
Well, I'll call in later, just to look after my own character.
Well, then, indeed, you must make haste after me, or you'll be too late. Goodbye to you.
So I've gained much by my intended expostulation. Yet with what a charming air she contradicts everything I say. How pleasingly she shows her contempt for my authority. Well, though I can't make her love me, there's great satisfaction in quarreling with her. And I think she never appears to such advantage as when she's doing everything in her power to plague me.
Lady Teasel, I'm so happy you could join us.
I give you joy, Mrs. Snellwell.
Oh, poor Miss Vermillion.
Oh, what's the matter, Mrs. Cantor?
Well, this scandal society will not allow our friend, Miss Vermillion, to be handsome.
Oh, surely she's a pretty woman.
I'm very glad you think so, ma'am.
She has a charming, fresh color.
Yes, when it's fresh put on.
Oh, my. I'll swear her color's natural. I've seen it come and go.
Oh, I dare swear you have, ma'am. It goes off at night and comes on again in the morning.
Well, if Miss Vermillion does take some pains to repair the ravages of time, you must allow she effects it with great ingenuity.
Nay, now, Lady Snellwell, 'tis not that she paints so ill, but when she has finished her face, She joins it on so badly to her neck that she looks like a mended statue, in which the connoisseur may see at once that the head is modern, though the trunk's antique.
Well said, Sir Benjamin.
You make me laugh, but I vow I hate you for it. Well, what do you think of Miss Simper?
Why, she has very pretty teeth.
Yes, and on that account, she never absolutely shuts her mouth, but always leaves it ajar, as it were.
Oh, how can you be so ill-natured?
Oh, nay, I allow even that better than the pains Mrs. Priam takes to conceal her losses in front. She draws her mouth till it positively resembles the aperture of a needle, and all her words appear to slide out edgewise, as it were, thus. Oh, do you do
You being a little severe.
Oh, in defense of a friend, it is but justice. Oh, but here comes Sir Peter to spoil our pleasant day.
Ladies, your most obedient.
I am rejoiced you are come, Sir Peter. They have been so censorious of so many of our friends.
That must be very distressing to you, Mrs. Candor, I dare swear.
Oh, they will allow good qualities to nobody. Not even good nature to our friend Mr. Percy.
What is that fat dowager who was at Mrs. Quadrilli's last night?
Oh, now, nay, her bulk is her misfortune, and when she takes so much pains to get rid of it, you ought not to reflect on her.
That's very true indeed. Yes, I know she almost lives on acids and laces herself up by pulleys.
Well, I thank you, Lady Teasel, for defending her.
Yes, a good defense, truly.
Well, for my part, I own I cannot bear to hear a friend ill spoken of.
No, to be sure.
Sir Peter is such an enemy to scandal, I believe he would have a law against him.
Madam, with such a law, no person should be permitted to kill characters and run down reputations but qualified old maids and disappointed widows.
Oh, you monster.
But surely you would not be quite so severe on those who only report what they hear.
Yes, madam, I would have a law for them, too.
Well, for my part, I believe the novel was a scandalous tale without some foundation.
Oh, 9 out of 10 of the malicious inventions are founded on some ridiculous misrepresentation.
Come, ladies, shall we sit down to cards in the next room?
In that case, excuse me.
Sir Peter, you're not going to leave.
Yes, but I leave my character behind me.
Well, certainly, Lady Teasel, that lord of yours is a strange being. I could tell you some stories of him would make you laugh heartily if he were not your husband.
Oh, pray, don't mind me. Come, do, let's hear some of them.
A moment, Lady Teasel.
Yes, Joseph.
I'm sure we may be excused a moment. May we, Lady Snailwell?
What? You and Lady Teasel, Joseph? Of course you may be excused. What could there possibly be between you?
Lady, I regret the suggestion of that laughter.
Joseph, can they possibly suspect it?
Hardly. It is Charles they suspect as your lover.
But, Joseph, you know I admit a lover only so far as fashion requires.
Of course. A mere platonic arrangement to keep your husband in line. What every wife is entitled to.
Well, certainly one must not be out of fashion. However, I have so much of my country prejudices left in me that even though Sir Peter's ill humor may vex me, it never shall provoke me to indiscretion, Joseph.
I applaud your moderation, milady. When are you coming to visit me?
At my first opportunity. But come, we've been away long enough.
You go first. We'd best not return together.
Yes, as we can't allow them to suspect us for a moment.
Oh, curious dilemma my politics have run me into. I wanted at first only to ingratiate myself with Lady Teasel, that she might not be my enemy with Maria. And I don't know how, become her serious lover. Sincerely, I begin to wish I'd never made such a point of gaining so very good a character. What has led me into so many cursed rogueries that I am now under constant fear of exposure.
Ah, Sir Oliver, my old friend. Welcome to England 1,000 times.
Thank you, Sir Peter. I'm glad to find you well, believe me.
A long time since we met. 15 years, Sir Oliver. Many an accident in that time.
Accident, to be sure. I find you married, huh? Well. It can't be helped, and so I wish you joy with all my heart.
Thank you, Sir Oliver. Yes, I've entered into the happy state, but we'll not talk of that now.
Oh, true, Sir Peter, true. Old friends should not begin on grievances at first meeting. No. So, one of my nephews is a wild fellow, eh?
Wild? Oh, my old friend, I grieve for your disappointment there. Charles is a lost young man indeed. However, his brother Joseph will make you amends. Joseph is indeed what a youth should be. Everybody in the world speaks well of him.
I'm sorry to hear it. Joseph has too good a character to be an honest fellow. Everybody speaks well of him. Pshaw. Then he is bowed as low to knaves and fools as to the honest dignity of genius and virtue.
Sir Oliver, do you blame him for not making enemies?
Yes, if he has merit enough to deserve them.
Well, you'll be convinced when you know him. It is edification to hear him converse. Joseph possesses the noblest sentiments.
Ah, plague take his sentiments. If he salutes me with a scrap of morality in his mouth, I shall be sick directly. But however, don't mistake me, Sir Peter. I don't mean to defend Charles' errors, but before I form my judgment of either of them, I intend to make a trial of their hearts. Neither nephew has seen me since their early childhood. They would hardly recognize their old uncle now.
What manner of trial, Sir Oliver?
I have heard of a Mr. Stanley who is closely related to Joseph and Charles by their mother. He was once a merchant in Dublin and has been ruined by a series of undeserved misfortunes. He has applied by letter to Joseph and Charles for help, although they have never seen him.
Do you mean, sir, that you intend to...
Sir Peter, I shall assume Stanley's character and visit my nephews individually. This will allow me to judge their benevolence and their disposition.
Wait, Sir Oliver. It happens that a gentleman awaits me in the study whom you may examine relative to Charles's affairs.
What manner of gentleman?
A friendly moneylender named Moses, who, to do him justice, has done everything in his power to bring Charles to a proper sense of his extravagance.
But pray, why should you suppose he will speak the truth?
Oh, he realizes he has no chance of recovering certain sums advanced to Charles, but through your bounty, Sir Oliver. And I think he's patiently awaited your expected arrival from the East Indies. You may depend on his fidelity to his own interests.
Well, bring him in by all means.
Mr. Moses.
Your servant, Sir Peter.
This is Sir Oliver, Mr. Moses.
Sir, I understand you have lately had dealings with my nephew, Charles.
Oh, yes, Sir Oliver. I have done all I could for him. But he was ruined before he came to me for assistance.
Well, that was unlucky, truly. For you had no opportunity of showing your talent.
None at all. I had not the pleasure of knowing his distresses until he was some thousands worse than nothing.
Oh, unfortunate indeed. But I suppose you have done all in your power for him, honest Moses?
Yes, he knows that. This very evening I was to have brought him a gentleman from the city who does not know him and will, I believe, advance him some money.
What? The moneylender Charles has never met before?
Yes, a Mr. Premium, formerly a broker.
Egad, Sir Oliver, a thought strikes me. Charles, you say, does not know Mr. Premium?
Not at all.
Now then, Sir Oliver, you may have a better opportunity of satisfying yourself than by an old tale of a poor relation. Go with my friend Moses and represent Premium. And then I'll answer for it, you'll see your nephew in all his glory.
Egad, I like this idea better than the other. And I may visit Joseph afterwards as old Stanley.
True, so you may.
I shall accompany you as soon as you please, Moses. But hold. Am I not rather too smartly dressed to look like a moneylender?
Why, not at all. It would not be out of character if you went in your own carriage, would it, Moses?
Not in the least.
But how must I talk? There's certainly some code of usury that I ought to know.
Oh, there's not much to learn. Great point, as I take it, is to be exorbitant enough in your demands, eh, Moses?
Yes, that is a very great point, Sir Peter.
Good. I shall ask him 8 or 10% on the loan at least.
If you ask him no more than that, you will be discovered immediately.
What the plague? How much then?
That depends on the circumstances. If he appears not very anxious for the supply, you should require only 40 or 50%. But if you find him in great distress, and badly enough he wants the money, you may ask double.
A good, honest trade you're learning, Sir Oliver.
Truly, I think so. And not unprofitable.
Then, of course, you know, you have not the money yourself, but you are forced to borrow it for him of a friend.
Oh, I borrow it of a friend, do I?
And your friend is an unconscionable dog. But you cannot help that.
My friend is an unconscionable dog, is he?
Yes. And the friend has not the money by him, but he is forced to sell stock at a very great loss.
He is forced to sell stock at a great loss. Well, that's very kind of him.
In faith, Sir Oliver, Mr. Premium, I mean, you'll soon be master of the trade.
First act of tonight's Comedy Playhouse full-hour feature production, The School for Scandal, by Richard B. Sheridan.
You're listening to the best of the old-time radio classics, and I'm your host, Jerry Hendigas. And now let's get back to the Comedy Playhouse and School for Scandal.
Here to set the scene for Act Two is your Comedy Playhouse host, our production director, Jack Lafrandre.
Our scene now changes to the rather bohemian atmosphere of the home of Charles Surface. The reckless young Charles is entertaining a friend, a Mr. Careless by name, and as Act Two opens, we find Charles extolling quite profoundly the virtues of alcohol.
For heaven, Careless, it's true. There's a great degeneracy in this day and age. Many of our acquaintances have taste, spirit, and politeness, but plague take it, they won't drink.
Yes, so indeed, Charles. They give in to all substantial luxuries of the table and abstain from nothing but wine and wit. Certainly society suffers by it intolerably. Yes. And in passing, what is love without wine?
Ah, love. What man can pretend to be a believer in love who is an abjurer of wine? 'Tis the test by which the lover knows his own heart. Fill a dozen bumpers to a dozen beauties, and she that floats on top is the maid that has bewitched you.
Now then, Charles, be honest. Tell me your real favorite. Who floats atop your bumper?
All right, Careless. I drink to Maria. Ah, Maria.
Maria? Who?
Oh, forget the surname. It's too formal to be registered in Love's calendar.
Master Charles, your pardon?
Yes, Trip?
Moses, the moneylender, waits without with a Mr. Premium, a broker.
Egad, money is music. So, honest Moses, walk in. And Mr. Premium. That's the gentleman's name, isn't it, Moses?
Yes, sir.
Sit down. Glasses, Trip, glasses.
Very good, sir.
Come, Mr. Premium. Here's success to usury.
To that I drink.
Right, Moses. Usury is prudence and industry and deserves to succeed.
Then here's all the success it deserves.
No. Now, wait, Mr. Premium. You have demurred at the toast and must drink it in a pint bumper.
Egad, a whole pint?
Oh, pray, sir, consider. Mr. Premium is a gentleman.
Pray, gentleman? I did not expect this usage.
Yes, plague on them then. If they won't drink, I'll not sit down with them. Charles, I'll join you when you finish your business with the... excuse me, gentlemen.
'Twill be but a moment, Careless.
Sir, Mr. Premium is a gentleman of the strictest honor and secrecy and always performs what he undertakes.
Sure, Moses, have done. Sir, my friend Moses is a very honest fellow, but a little slow at expression. Mr. Premium, the plain state of the matter is this. I am an extravagant young fellow who wants to borrow money. You, I take to be a prudent old fellow who have got money to lend. I am blockhead enough to give 50% sooner than not have it, and you, I presume, are rogue enough to take 100 if you can get it. Now, sir, you see, we are acquainted at once, and may proceed to business without further ceremony.
Exceeding frank, upon my word. I see, sir, you are not a man of many compliments.
Oh, no, sir. Plain dealing in business, I always think best.
What security could you give, sir? You have land, I suppose?
Oh, not a molehill nor a twig, but what's in the window boxes.
Nor any stock, I presume?
Nothing but livestock, not only a flea bit and Airedale. But pray, Mr. Premium, are you acquainted at all with any of my connections?
Why, to say the truth, I am.
Oh, then you must know that I have a devilish rich uncle in the East Indies, Sir Oliver Surface, from whom I have the greatest expectations.
That you have a wealthy uncle, I have heard. But how your expectations will turn out is more, I believe, than you can tell.
Oh, no. There can be no doubt. They tell me I'm a prodigious favorite, and that he talks of leaving me everything.
Indeed. This is the first I have heard of it.
Oh, yes, it is just so. Moses knows it's true, don't you, Moses?
Oh, yes, I would swear to it.
Now, I propose, Mr. Premium, if it's agreeable to you, a post open on Sir Oliver's life. Though at the same time, the old fellow has been so liberal to me that I give you my word, I should be very sorry to hear that anything had happened to him.
No more than I should, I assure you. But the bond you mentioned happens to be just the worst security you could offer me.
Oh.
For I might live to be 100 and never see the principal. I have heard that he is hale and healthy as any man of his years in Christendom.
Oh, but you are misinformed, Mr. Premium. Oh, no. The climate has hurt him considerably, poor Uncle Oliver. Yes, he breaks a pace, I'm told, and is so much altered lately that his nearest relations don't even know him.
No. So much altered lately that his nearest relations don't know him. Egad.
You're glad to hear that, Mr. Premium.
No, I'm not.
Oh, yes, you are. You know that mends your chance to collect your money.
But I'm told that Sir Oliver will soon be here. Some say he's actually arrived already.
Sure, I must know better than you whether he's come or not. No, rely on it. He's at this moment in Calcutta. Isn't he, Moses?
Yes, certainly.
Very true. As you say, you must know better than I. Though I have it from pretty good authority, haven't I, Moses?
Yes, most undoubtedly.
Yeah. But, sir, as I understand, you want a few hundred immediately. Is there nothing you could dispose of?
How do you mean?
Nothing of the family property left, I suppose?
Oh, not much indeed. Unless you have a mind to the family pictures.
Yeah.
I have a room full of ancestors here. And if you have a taste for old paintings, egad, you shall have them at a bargain.
Hey, what the devil? Surely you wouldn't sell your forefathers, would you?
Every man of them to the highest bidder.
What? Your great-uncles and aunts?
I and my great-grandfathers and grandmothers, too.
What the plague? Have you no consideration for your own kindred? Odds life! Do you take me for a Shylock, that you would raise money of me on your own flesh and blood?
To be sure. When a man wants money, where the plague should he get assistance if he can't make free with his own relations? Walk in, gentlemen, pray walk in. Now, here they are. The family of the Surfaces up to the conquest.
Yes, and in my opinion, a goodly collection.
Aye. These are done in the true spirit of portrait painting, all stiff and awkward as the originals, and like nothing in human nature.
We shall never see such figures of men again.
I hope not. Well, here's my great-uncle, Sir Richard Raveline, a marvelous good general in his day, I assure you. He served in all the Duke of Marlborough's wars and got that cut over his eye at the Battle of Malplaquet. What say you, Mr. Premium? Look at him. A hero enveloped in wig and regimentals as a general should be. Now, what do you bid?
Mr. Premium would have you speak first.
Why, then he shall have him for £10, and I'm sure that's not dear for a staff officer.
Heaven deliver me. Your famous Uncle Richard for £10? Very well, sir. I shall take him at £10.
Moses, knock down my Uncle Richard. And there are two brothers of his, William and Walter Blunt, Esquires, both members of Parliament and noted speakers. And what's very extraordinary, I believe, this is the first time they were ever bought or sold.
Well, that is very extraordinary indeed. I'll take them at your own price. For the honor of Parliament.
Well said, Mr. Premium. I'll knock them down at 40. But plain take it, we shall be all day retailing in this matter. Do let us deal wholesale. Now, what say you, Premium? Give me £300 for the rest of the family in the lump.
Aye, that would be the best way.
Well, anything to accommodate you. But there is one portrait which you have always passed over.
Oh, what? That ill-looking little fellow over the settee?
Yes, sir. Though I don't think he's so ill-looking, the little fellow, by any means.
Oh, that's my Uncle Oliver. 'Twas done before he went abroad.
Oh, I suppose your Uncle Oliver goes with the rest of the canvases?
Oh, no. The old fellow's been very good to me. And egad, I'll keep his picture while I've a room to put it in.
But, sir, I have somehow taken a fancy to that picture.
I'm sorry, but I can't let you have it.
But, sir, when I take a whim in my head, I don't value money. I'll give you as much for that as all the rest.
Oh, don't tease me, Master Broker. I'll tell you I'll not part with it till there's an end of it.
Well, I have done. Yep. Here's a draft for your sum.
What? 'Tis for £800.
You will not let Sir Oliver go?
Sounds no, I tell you once more.
Well, then never mind the difference. We'll balance that another time. But give me your hand on the bargain. You are an honest fellow, Charles. Come, Moses.
Egad, you're a whimsical old fellow. But Harkey Premium, you'll prepare lodgings for my austere relatives here.
Oh, yes. I shall send for them in a day or two.
Good. But please send proper conveyance for them, for I assure you most of them used to ride in their own carriages.
Well, sir, I think, as Sir Peter said, you have seen Mr. Charles in high glory. It is a great pity he is so extravagant.
Yes, true. But he would not sell my picture.
And loves wine and women so much.
But he would not sell my picture.
And gambles without reason.
Yeah, but he would not sell my picture.
Ah, Lady Teazle, I hardly dared hope you would visit me at my abode.
Oh, Lord, Sir Joseph, don't pretend to look brave. Sir Peter's grown so ill-natured of me of late and so jealous of Charles that I have grown bold enough to come hither.
My dear Lady Teazle, 'tis your own fault if you suffer so. When a husband entertains a groundless suspicion of his wife and withdraws his confidence from her, the original compact is broken, and she owes it to the honor of her sex to outwit him.
Indeed. Sir Joseph, could you possibly be suggesting that the best way of curing his jealousy is to give him reason for it?
Quite. For your husband should never be deceived in you, and in that case it becomes you to be weak. In compliment to his suspicion, of course.
Oh, of course.
My dear Lady Teazle, if you would but once make a trifling mistake, you can't conceive how cautious you would grow, and how ready to humor and agree with your husband.
Do you think so?
Oh, I'm sure of it. And then you would find all scandal would cease at once. For in short, your character at present is absolutely dying from too much help.
So? Oh, then I perceive your prescription. It is that I must sin in my own defense and part with my virtue to preserve my reputation.
Exactly so, upon my credit, ma'am.
Oh, well, certainly this is the oddest doctrine and the newest receipt for avoiding scandal that ever
An infallible one, believe me. Prudence, like experience, must be paid for.
Why, Joseph, you have me almost convinced.
Heaven forbid I should persuade you to do anything you thought wrong. No, I have too much honor to desire it.
Oh, Joseph, don't you think we may as well leave honor out of the argument?
The ill effects of your country education, I see, still remain with you.
Yes, perhaps, but I must own to you that if I could be persuaded to do wrong, it would be by Sir Peter's ill usage sooner than by your honorable logic.
Lady Teazle, if I then might be the one to persuade you.
Yes? Just go on. I'm weakening, Joseph.
Mr. Surface, sir.
You blockhead! What do you want?
I beg your pardon, sir, but I thought you would not choose Sir Peter to come up without announcing him.
Sir Peter? The devil you say?
Sir Peter, oh, Lord, I'm ruined.
Sir, I had to let him in.
That screen, Lady Teazle, behind it, quickly.
Oh, I'm quite undone. What will become of me? Oh, mercy, he's on the stairs. I'll get behind the screen, Mr. Logic. But if ever I'm so imprudent again,
Good morrow, Joseph.
Oh, my dear Sir Peter, I beg your pardon. I've been dozing over a stupid book. Much obliged to you for this call. You haven't been here, I believe, since I fitted up this room. Books, you know, are the only things in which I'm interested.
Well, that's proper. And you can make even your screen a source of knowledge, hung, I perceive, with math.
Oh, yes, I find great use in that screen.
I dare say you must, certainly.
I do, indeed.
Well, now we're alone. There's a subject, my dear friend, on which I wish to unburden my mind to you. A point of the greatest moment to my peace. In short, my good friend, Lady Teazle's conduct of late has made me very unhappy.
Indeed. I'm very sorry to hear it, Sir Peter.
It's but too plain that she's not the least regard for me. And what's worse, I have pretty good authority to suppose that she formed an attachment to another.
Indeed? You astonish me.
I'm convinced of it. It's a happiness to have a friend whom one can trust, even in what's family secrets. But you have no guess whom I mean.
I haven't the most distant idea. It can't be Sir Benjamin Backbite.
Oh, no. What say you to Charles?
My brother? Impossible. impossible.
Oh, my dear friend, the goodness of your own heart misleads you. You judge of others by yourself.
Certainly, Sir Peter, the heart that is conscious of its own integrity is ever slow to credit another's treachery.
True, but your brother has no sentiment. You never hear him talk so.
Yet I can't but think Lady Teazle herself has too much principle.
Aye, but what is principle against the flattery of a handsome, lively young fellow like Charles?
Alas, that's very true.
And as you know, the difference of our ages make it very improbable that she should have any great affection for me. And if she were to be imprudent and I were to make it public, why, the town would only laugh at me. A foolish old bachelor who'd married a child bride.
That's true, to be sure. They would laugh, I suppose.
Laugh, aye, and make ballads and paragraphs and the devil knows what of me.
No, you must never make it public.
But then again, the nephew of my old friend, Sir Oliver, should be the person to attempt such a wrong. It hurts me deeply.
Aye, there's the point. When ingratitude barbs the dart of injury, the wound has double danger in it.
Aye, that was in a manner left Charles his guardian, in whose house he's been so often entertained, who never in my life denied him my valuable advice.
Oh, 'tis not to be credited. There may be a man capable of such baseness, to be sure, but for my part, till you can give me positive proof, I cannot help but doubt it. However, if it should be proved of him, then he is no longer a brother of mine. I disclaim kindred with him. For the man who can break the laws of hospitality and tempt the wife of his friend deserves to be branded as the pest of society.
What a difference there is between you. What noble sentiment.
Well, sir?
Your brother Charles, sir?
Charles? Deaf blockhead, I'm not within. I'm out for the day.
Say, hold, a thought has struck me. You shall be at home.
Huh? Very well, let him in.
Yes, sir.
And now, my good friend, oblige me, I entreat you. Before Charles comes, let me conceal myself somewhere. Then you tax him on the point we've been discussing, and his answer may satisfy me at once.
Oh, fine, Sir Peter. Would you have me join in so mean a trick?
Nay, you tell me you're sure he's innocent. If so, you do him the greatest service by giving him an opportunity to clear himself, and you will set my heart at rest. Come, you shall not refuse me. Here, behind the screen will be... Hey, what the devil? There seems to be one listening here already. I swear I saw a petticoat.
Well, this is ridiculous enough. I tell you, Sir Peter, though I hold a man of intrigue to be a most despicable character, yet you know it does not follow that one has to be an absolute Puritan either. 'Tis a little French milliner, a silly rogue that plagues me, and having some character to lose on your coming, sir, she ran behind the screen.
Ah, you rogue. But egad, she's overheard all that I've been saying about my wife.
So it will never go any farther. You can depend upon it.
No, then, Faith, let me hear it out. Here's the closet will do just as well.
Go in there.
Ha ha, sly rogue, sly rogue. A French milliner. Ooh, la la.
Narrow escape, indeed, and a curious situation I'm in to part a man and his wife in this manner.
Couldn't I steal off, Joseph?
Keep close, my angel.
Couldn't you lock Sir Peter in?
Be still, my life.
Hello, brother. What has been the matter? Your fellow would not let me up at first. Why not? Have you a wench with you?
Brother, I assure you, no.
But what has made Sir Peter steal off, Joseph? I thought he had been with you.
He was, Charles, but hearing you were coming, he did not choose to stay.
What? Was the old gentleman afraid I wanted to borrow money from him?
No, sir, but I'm sorry to find, Charles, you have lately given that worthy man grounds for great uneasiness.
Yes, they tell me I do that to a great many worthy men. But how so, pray?
To be plain with you, brother, he thinks you are endeavoring to gain Lady Teazle's affections from him.
Who? I? Oh, Lord, not I, upon my word. Oh, so the old fellow has found out that he has a young wife, has he? Oh, what is worse, Lady Teazle has found out that she has an old husband.
This is not a subject to jest on, brother. He who can laugh...
True. I have heard this silly rumor, and it has set Maria against me, too. But seriously, I have the least idea of what you charge me with, upon my honor, Joseph.
Well, it will give Sir Peter great satisfaction to hear this.
But, Joseph, do you know now that you surprise me exceedingly by naming me with Lady Teazle? For in faith, I always understood you were her favorite.
Oh, for shame, Charles. This retort is foolish.
Nay, I swear I have seen you exchange such significant glances.
Nay, sir, this is no jest.
Egad, I'm serious. Don't you remember one day when I called on Sir Peter? You and Lady Teazle
Nay, prithee, Charles, prithee.
I said you and Lady Teazle
I beg your pardon, Charles, but Sir Peter has overheard all we've been saying. I knew you would clear yourself, or I should not have consented.
Sir Peter? Where is he?
There, in that closet.
Oh, for heaven, I'll have him out. Sir Peter, come forth.
No.
I say, Sir Peter.
Give me your hand, Charles. I believe I've suspected you wrongfully, but you mustn't be angry with Joseph. It was my plan.
Indeed.
But I acquit you. I promise you I don't think near so ill of you as I did. What I've heard has given me great satisfaction.
Gad, then, 'twas lucky you didn't hear any more, wasn't it, Joseph?
Ah, you would have betrayed Joseph.
Oh, no. That was a joke, of course, Sir Peter.
Yes, I know Joseph's honor too well. A joke, of course.
But you might as well have suspected him as well as me in this matter, for all that, mightn't he, Joseph?
If you please, Charles. Well, I believe you, Charles. I believe you.
I beg pardon, sir. Lady Sneerwell is below and says she will come up.
Keep Lady Sneerwell downstairs, you blockhead. Gentlemen, I beg pardon. Will you wait in another room? There's a person come to see me on a particular business.
Well, you can see him elsewhere, Joseph. Sir Peter and I have not met in a long time, and I have something to say to him.
Well, I'll send this man away and return directly.
Ah, Charles, if you associated more with your brother, one might indeed hope for your reformation. Joseph is a man of sentiment. There's nothing in the world so noble as a man of sentiment.
Sure. He is too moral by half, and so apprehensive of his good name, as he calls it, that I suppose he would as soon let a priest enter his house as a girl.
Oh, no, come, you wrong him. Joseph's no rake, but he's no such saint either in that respect. Have you a mind for a good laugh at Joseph?
Oh, I should like it of all things.
He had a girl with him when I called.
What? Joseph? Oh, you jest.
A little French milliner. And the best of the jest is she's in the room now.
The devil she is.
Did I tell you that screen, behind that screen? Mm-hmm.
Let's unveil her.
No. Think of Joseph. No, you shan't indeed.
Oh, egad, we'll have just a peep at the little milliner. Joseph won't have to know.
Not for the world. Joseph will never forgive me.
I'll stand by you, Sir Peter. Aha! Come out, my pretty. Oh! Lady Teasel, by all that's wonderful.
Lady Teasel, by all that's damnable.
Oh, dear Sir Benjamin Backbite, you have heard, I suppose...
Of Lady Teasel and Joseph Surface.
And Sir Peter's discovery?
Aye, the strangest piece of business, to be sure, Mrs. Cantor.
Well, I never was so surprised in my life. I'm so sorry for all parties, indeed.
Now, I don't pity Sir Peter at all, Lady Sneerwell. He was so extravagantly partial to Joseph.
Joseph? Why, it was with Charles Lady Teasel was detected.
No. Joseph Surface is the gallant.
No such thing. Charles is the man. It was Joseph brought Sir Peter on purpose to discover them.
I tell you, Mrs. Cantor, I had it from someone who...
And I have it from someone...
Who had it from someone who had it...
From someone who...
Remember, I was there.
Yes, Lady Sneerwell was there.
Aye, Lady Sneerwell was there.
Well, not exactly there. I was downstairs. It seems that Joseph Surface...
Aye, there. I told you Joseph was the man.
No. Indeed, she was with Charles.
With Charles? Are you sure, Mrs. Cantor?
Oh, yes. He was the lover. Joseph, to do him justice, was only the informer.
Well, I'll not dispute with you, Mrs. Cantor. But be it which it may, I hope that Sir Peter's wound will not...
Sir Peter's wound? Oh, mercy. I didn't hear a word of their fighting.
Yes, there was a duel.
A duel?
Oh, yes. They fought before they left the room.
Oh, pray, let us hear. I do oblige us with the duel.
Sir, says Sir Peter, immediately after the discovery, you are a most ungrateful fellow.
To Charles.
No, to Joseph. Then they drew swords, and...
No. With pistols, nephew, pistols. I have it from undoubted authority. Sir Peter is dangerously wounded.
Wounded?
By a thrust through his left side.
By a bullet lodged in the thorax.
Well, now, what goes on here?
Well, Doctor, what hope?
Aye, Doctor, how's your patient?
Now, Doctor, isn't it a wound with a small sword?
A bullet lodged in the thorax.
Doctor, a wound with a small sword, a bullet in the thorax. Are you bad, good people?
Perhaps, sir, you are not a doctor?
Truly. I am to thank you for my degree, if I am.
Only a friend of Sir Peter's, then, I presume. But, sir, you must have heard of his accident.
Accident is something the matter, Sir Oliver. Odds heart, Sir Peter. You are come in good time, I promise you, for we were just giving you over.
Egad, Uncle, this is the most sudden recovery.
Why, man, What are you doing out of bed with a small sword through your body and a bullet lodged in your thorax?
A small sword and a bullet?
Aye. These people would have killed you without compunction and wanted to dub me a doctor to make me an accomplice.
We rejoice, Sir Peter, that the story of the duel is not true, and are sincerely sorry for your other misfortune.
So it's all over the town already.
No, Sir Peter, you were certainly vastly to blame to marry at your years.
And, sir, what business is that of yours?
No, indeed, as Sir Peter made so good a husband. He is very much to be pitied.
Plague on your pity, Mrs. Cantor. I insist on being left to myself, without ceremony. I enlist on your leaving my house directly, all of you.
Well, we're going, and depend on it, we'll make the best report of it we can.
Leave my house.
And tell how badly you've been treated.
Leave my house.
And how patiently you bear it.
Fiends, vipers, furies. Oh, that your own venom would choke you to death.
Egad, Sir Peter. I should like to have seen your face when that screen was thrown down.
Now, my face when the screen was thrown down. I must never show my face again.
Oh, I know it isn't fair to me to laugh at you, old friend. Though upon my soul, I can't help it.
Well, pray don't restrain your mouth on my account, Sir Oliver. It doesn't hurt me at all. I laugh at the whole affair myself. Yes, I think being a standing jest for all one's acquaintance is a very happy situation. Oh, yes, and then of a morning to read the paragraphs about Mr. S., Lady T., and Sir P. is so entertaining.
Oh, wait, Sir Peter. I see Lady Teasel going toward the next room. I'm sure you must desire reconciliation as earnestly as she does.
She's not coming here, you see, Sir Oliver.
No, but she has left the door of the room open, you perceive. Oh, see, she's in tears.
Certainly a little mortification appears very becoming in a wife. Don't you think it'll do her good to pine a little?
Oh, this is ungenerous of you. Sir Peter, he who once lays aside suspicion...
Hold! If you have any regard for me, never let me hear you utter anything like a sentiment. And enough of them to serve me for the rest of my life.
I beg pardon, sir.
Now what, you blockhead?
Mr. Stanley is calling, Master Joseph.
Stanley? A beggar. Throw him out. I've heard that my Uncle Oliver is in town. I cannot have an old servant here crying poverty.
1,000 pardons, Mr. Service. My need is desperate.
Mr. Stanley, you must go. I can do nothing for
Oh,
you.
sir, have you no feelings?
Down, sir. I insist on your quitting this room at once.
Nay, sir, please.
Here, blockhead, show this gentleman out.
You must go, sir. You must go.
Heyday, what's the matter now? What the devil, Joseph? Have you got hold of my little broker here? Zounds, brother, don't hurt Mr. Premium.
Premium? His name's Stanley.
No. Premium.
Well, no matter which, out he goes.
Aye, Stanley or Premium, 'tis the same thing as you say, for I suppose he goes by 100 names. Out, sir.
No, I beg of you, gentlemen.
Hold. What in the name of wonder here? Dutiful nephews assaulting their uncle at his first visit?
Indeed, Sir Oliver, 'twas well we came in to rescue you.
Sir Oliver?
Sir Oliver?
Sir Peter, my friend, look on the elder nephew of mine. You know how he has already received from my bounty. And you also know how gladly I would have regarded half my fortune as held in trust for him. Judge, then, my disappointment in discovering him to be destitute of faith, charity, and gratitude.
But, Uncle! Sir Oliver, I should be more surprised at this declaration if I had not myself found Joseph to be mean, treacherous, and hypocritical.
And if the gentleman pleads not guilty to these, pray let him call me to his character.
Lady Teasel,
Then I believe we need add no more. If Joseph knows himself, he will consider it as the most perfect punishment. As for his brother Charles...
Hi. Now comes my turn.
Come, Sir Oliver, I know you cannot speak of Charles's follies with anger.
That's hard. No more can I. Nor with gravity either. Sir Peter, do you know how that rogue bargained with me for all his ancestors? Sold me judges and generals by the foot, and made aunts as cheap as broken china.
To be sure, Sir Oliver, I did make a little free with the family canvas, that's the truth. My ancestors may rise in judgment against me, there's no denying it. But believe me when I tell you that if I do not appear mortified at the exposure of my follies, it is because I feel at this moment the warmest satisfaction in seeing you, my liberal benefactor.
Charles, I believe you. Give me your hand.
I believe, Sir Oliver, here's one whom Charles is still more anxious to be reconciled to.
Oh, I have heard of his attachment there. And with the young lady's pardon, if I construe right, that blush.
Sir Oliver.
Well, Maria, speak your sentiments.
Sir, I have little to say, but that I shall rejoice to hear that Charles is forgiven by you.
Maria, haven't you forgiven me?
Oh, Charles, how can I when those letters...
Hey, what's the mystery now, Maria? While he appeared an incorrigible rake, he would give your hand to no one else. Now that he's likely to reform, I'll warrant you won't have him.
His own heart and Lady Sneerwell know the cause.
Lady Sneerwell.
Brother, it is with great concern I'm obliged to speak on this point. But my regard to justice compels me. And Lady Sneerwell's injuries can no longer be concealed. Come out from behind the screen, Lady Sneerwell.
So, another French milliner. Gad. One in every room in the house, I suppose.
Ungrateful Charles. Well, may you be surprised and feel for the indelicate situation your perfidy has forced me into.
Pray, Uncle, is this another plot of yours? For as I have life, I don't understand it.
A plot? What of these love letters Charles has written to Lady Teazle? What of his promises?
Love letters? Promises?
Wait. Come in, Mr. Snake.
Snake? You here?
Aye, milady Sneerwell.
I thought his testimony might be wanted. However, it happens that he comes to confront Lady Sneerwell and not to support her.
Oh, villain! Treacherous to me at last. Speak, fellow, have you two conspired against me?
I beg your ladyship 10,000 pardons. You paid me extremely liberally for the lie in question about those letters. But I, unfortunately, have been offered double to speak the truth.
Plot and counterplot, egad.
Torments of shame and disappointment on you all.
Oh, Lady Sneerwell, before you go, let me thank you for the trouble you and Mr. Snake have taken in writing letters from me to Charles and circulating them among our friends. I also request that you take my respects to the scandalous college of which you are the president and inform them that Lady Teazle, licentiate, begs leave to return the diploma they granted her as she leaves off practice and kills characters no longer.
You too, madam. Provoking, insolent. May your husband live for 50 years!
What a fury.
A malicious creature indeed.
Well, Joseph, what have you to say now?
Sir, I'm so confounded to find that Lady Sneerwell could be guilty of suborning Mr. Snake in this manner to impose on us all. I know not what to say. However, lest her revengeful spirit should prompt her to injure my brother, I had certainly better follow her directly.
Moral to the last drop.
Aye, and marry her, Joseph, if you can. Oil and vinegar, egad. You'll do very well together.
I believe we have no more occasion for Mr. Snake at present.
Yes, but before I go, I beg pardon once and for all for whatever uneasiness I have been the humble instrument of causing to the parties present.
Well, you've made atonement by a good deed at last.
Yes, but I must request of you good people that it shall never be known.
Hey, what the plague, Snake? Are you ashamed of having done a right thing once in your life?
Ah, but sir, consider. I live by the badness of my character. I have nothing but my infamy to depend on. And if it were once known that I had been betrayed into an honest action, I should lose every friend I have in the world.
Very well, very well. We'll traduce you by saying nothing in your praise, never fear.
There's a precious rogue. No persuasion now to reconcile Charles and Maria.
Aye, that's as it should be. And egad, we'll have the wedding tomorrow morning.
Thank you, dear uncle.
What, you rogue? Don't you ask the girl's consent first?
Oh, I've done that with my eyes.
And my eyes have said yes.
Well, the fewer words, the better. May your love for each other never know abatement.
And may you live as happily together as Lady Teazle and I intend to do. Now that you've reformed, that is, Charles.
As to reforming, Sir Peter, I'll make no promises. But Maria shall be my monitor, my gentle guide. How can I leave the virtuous path those eyes illuminate?
Charles.
Dear maid, the power of your beauty's sway needs but command, and then I must obey. An humble fugitive from folly view no sanctuary now but love and you. You can indeed each anxious fear remove, for even scandal dies if you approve.
From Chicago, Comedy Playhouse has presented the great 18th century classic by Richard Brinsley Sheridan, The School for Scandal, produced under the direction of Jacques Lefrandre, with the orchestra conducted by Robert Trendler and starring the famous Gold Coast Players. Here again is your Comedy Playhouse host with a word about next week's program. Our production director, Jack Lafrandre.
1 week from tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it will be our pleasure and privilege to present a very human comedy by one of America's greatest humorists. The one and only Clarence by the one and only Booth Tarkington. Good night.
The Gold Coast players heard tonight were Hope Summers as Lady Sneerwell, Elmira Ressler as Mrs. Kander, Sandra Gare as Maria, Muriel Bremner as Lady Teasel, John Barkley as Sir Peter Teasel, Clifford Sevier as Sir Oliver, Norman Gottschalk as Sir Benjamin Backbite, Butler Manville as Mr. Crabtree, Cliff Norton as Moses, Maurice D. Copeland as Joseph Service, Everett Clark as Charles Service, Horace Lewis as Mr. Snake, Jonathan Hole as Careless, Fred Smith as Trip, and Carl Cronky and Herman Dinkin as servants. This is John Mallow speaking. Remember, 1 week from tonight, Clarence by Booth Tarkington. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.